Yo, what up, guys? I want to let you guys in a little secret of how to find fish in the beginning of summer, what to look for in these highland reservoirs and lowland reservoirs. Let's start out with highland reservoirs, okay? I'm gonna be heading to Don Pedro very soon. Saturday night, I'm gonna prepare for Don Pedro Reservoir for Ryan Moore's Memorial Tournament. Rest in peace, Ryan. Um, and so, sorry, I'm just like, let's give a moment of silence for Ryan. I heard he was a great guy, and it sucks because I would have liked to have met Ryan, but from what AJ, Daigo, and a few other guys have told me, like Ryan was a cool guy to hang out with, to be friends with. So yeah, rest in peace, Ryan. Let's just keep on talking about how to find fish over at highland reservoirs. Okay, so a lot of these highland reservoirs that don't have grass, these bass want to be comfortable. They want to have an ambush spot. They want to they want to eat during the summer because they just got done with all their bedding and their spawning, and their tails are beat up, their body's beat up, they're skinny, their metabolism is fired up. They're ready to eat. Not to say that they don't have a bite window, but you can find very active fish that want to eat that day. Okay, so what to look for? So these highland reservoirs, they lack of grass a lot of the times. So when you go down the bank, you can naturally see what types of cover is in this lake. You can see boulders, stick-ups, contour changes. You'll see steep walls. You'll see slow tapering points. You'll see bluff walls a lot of the times, islands, high spots, ledges, and etc. on the maps. What you want to focus on is a lot of the structure that's on the bank. So when you go down a highland reservoir, you want to use your side scan and just figure out where the most cover is. And when I'm saying cover specifically for Don Pedro, you want to look for, any stick ups, any brush, any submerged rocks, especially out of a spawning flat. So if there's like a spawning bay or a creek that leads way back for them to bed, push out to a secondary point or a main lake point and figure out where all the majority cover is. And like I said, that could either be stick-ups, rock piles, laydowns, submerged brush. And if you can find grass in these highland reservoirs, though, the grass edge too as well. Either the grass that's further in, closer to the bank, or out in deeper water. So those two both work. Places to actually look out in the main lake during this time for all these highland reservoirs, you can look at ledges. So if you pull up your maps and you see a high spot in the middle of the lake, and around it you see slow tapering, even separated, like a slow tapering fall from the island. But the backside of the island has very close contour lines, and it's a sheer drop off. A lot of those bigger fish, a lot of those bass, if you have live scope, you could see the separation from a big bass in that ledge. And a lot of the times those bigger fish, those dominant fish, will hang out on that ledge, shoot up, and eat forage that way. So that's one thing to look at. Also, you could find them in creek channels and ditches. That's another place. But let's go over, I kind of gave you like a quick summary of how to find fish in a highland reservoir. doing all those things, looking at your maps, scanning in those areas of structure and etc., your high percentage spots. Let's move over to lowland reservoirs. Let's use, for example, Clear Lake. Okay, so Clear Lake, everybody knows creeks and canals and rivers. Like for instance, Rodman Slough. I wouldn't say river. I would say sloughs. Um, all the mouths and all those ditches. And don't get me wrong, those bass either stay shallow or they go deep. Okay, so you have two areas that you can cover. Now there's gonna be tons of grass, so you guys got to be acclimated. So you're not gonna learn grass fishing right away, okay? But what I can do is give you the high percentage spots where to look. A lot of times you can't use live scope when you're super shallow and you're fishing grass beds and grass mats. So what I recommend is to punch and frog all the grass mats that are on the shallower side. So if you're in the mouth of Rodman Slough or a creek, work the outside edges of it. Okay, work the outside of the mouth and work your way out of the bank, because all those fish will pull out to the very first point and stay on all these mats that are growing close to the bank or close to the tulies. And they'll use that canopy to stay in a comfortable zone and to eat their forage and blend in. So you could use a punch bait there, or you could use a frog, whatever you like. Now, if you want to target those deeper fish, the mouth, go all the way out to the deepest section, find that grass edge, that hard grass edge out deep, if there's one that exists. If you can find one that exists and it's a thick, sparse mat. So if it's an isolated mat out in the deep, use a drop shot on the edge, use a punch bait, use a frog, and try to find those fish in that area as well. Now, bonus tip, if you have grass beds and you have docks, a lot of the times when that sun up is very high, you can get that extra bite or two in that shadow area. So if there's pilings and the sun is over here and it's casting a shade in this direction, and there's grass beds all in that shade and a few pilings there, you can also target those bigger bass using the shade, grass beds, and pilings. I've caught a lot of fish in shady areas. They just liked position in the darkest spots of the grass beds. So that's another tip that I recommend. Look out, like I said, I'll just repeat everything. Look out at the immediate points at the spawning bays or spawning sloughs or canals. Look at that area with grass beds. Look out at the hard grass edge out in the deeper water. They're very comfortable over there, and a lot of the dominant fish will go swim out there and feel more comfortable in that deeper area with that hard grass edge. And lastly, bonus tip, stay near docks with tons of shade and grass beds growing next to it. A lot of the bigger dominant fish are super comfortable near dock pilings, near shade, and near grass. If you guys want any information, any additional information about fishing highland or lowland lakes, please feel free in the comment section. Leave your questions there, and I'll try to answer the best way that I can. And like this video, make sure you like it so that way people continuously can gain this information through the algorithm on their feed. And lastly, subscribe. If this information helped you at all or kind of gave you that extra tip to go out there and have a successful day, subscribe. I'll give you more information. Let's go. Never give up. Keep fishing. Peace.